1975, this was the most fashionable car to be seen in. 40 years ago, John's Jaguar XJS was hugely desirable. Other new cars that year included the Triumph TR7 and the Austin Princess. For the first time, it was possible to drive round at least part of Southampton on a motorway. Before the M27 was built, the narrow bridge at Swaithling was the main route for long-distance traffic. The motorway west of Southampton was finished first. Then came Portsmouth, built round the northern edge of the harbour. The rest took another decade to complete. The soft peat of the River Itchen was a particular problem.
But it's not finished there. The peat has to be replaced, so hundreds of lorry loads of chalk from Portsmouth must be brought in to provide the missing stable base for the concrete piles to be driven into.
The idea of a South Coast motorway started in the 1930s. It was to run from Kent to Cornwall. But the money ran out. What we got was much shorter. A road from the edge of the New Forest to Havant.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
When the section near Eastleigh was completed, South Today presenter Bruce Parker was the first to drive it.
And it's a splendid piece of road, I must say, opening up a part of the countryside in Hampshire here that I've never seen before. Mind you, I do think some of us are going to be slightly surprised using this for the first time when we come to this point, because this is where the runway ends at Eastleigh Airport, and certainly the planes, the bigger ones anyway, taking off and landing, look rather close to me.
Bruce was right. In 1993, this happened. A jet overshot the runway and landed on the motorway, hitting 3 cars. It burst into flames. The 2 people on board were unhurt. The motorway was going to be laid with tarmac. The 1970s oil crisis stopped that. Bitumen became too expensive, so it was made with concrete instead. Some of it is still there. Drive along the M27 today and you'll hear it. Concrete roads are more noisy. But 20 years after the road opened, much of it had already worn out. Larger areas had to be rebuilt.
It's unimaginable what the situation would be now without it, because obviously traffic has grown, probably doubled in Hampshire over the lifetime of the motorway, and the motorway's still coping reasonably well. It's generated new residential areas near junctions, it's generated business parks, so both socially and economically it's pretty important.
Now the road is changing again. Tomorrow we'll look at how the M27 will cope with the next 40 years. Paul Clifton, BBC South Today, on the M27.